Good day. Today I want to talk about why I went vegan and why you should go vegan, maybe. So, I initially. Well, let's go back to where I was when I was younger. I ate a normal diet of meat and dairy and everything, and I loved animals at the same time. And I never saw this as a contradiction, because eating animals and their byproducts was part of my upbringing. My parents fed me it, and I didn't know any difference. I was also desensitized, just like most people are. So I even helped slaughter a pig that my father owned, and we ate that pig, and I think a lamb as well that they had, and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think that it was a bad thing. I understood that, if you know the animal, it's not worse or better than, if you buy it from the store. So I didn't mind. But I initially started going plant-based for my own selfish reasons. I wanted to be healthier for myself and happier, and I understood that diet has a very strong correlation to how we feel. Physically, of course, the healthier that you eat, the healthier you will feel, but also psychologically, the relationship that we have with food is really powerful. And I think having a more controlled approach, it can be helpful. So yeah, I basically went pescatarian for a year, and slowly implemented more and more plant foods, and kind of supplemented with superfoods. I don't like the word superfood, because there are lots of normal plants that have higher concentrations of nutrients than some of these things, but they can be very helpful. So spirulina and hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, matcha powder. A lot of these things have very high concentrations of antioxidants, and the more the better. So once I had been pescatarian for a year, I felt pretty good, but there was still a contradiction, because I was eating fish, and I was eating eggs, and I was eating yogurt. And after meeting my girlfriend, Yannicka, she helped me to see that perspective from the animal's point of view, from the victim. And the dairy industry and the egg industry and the fishing industries are the worst. I mean, the dairy industry is the meat industry, because the dairy cows go to slaughter after they've been used up. So, if you're interested, you're already watching this video, so it's too late now. Cows are forcibly impregnated by injecting the bull semen into their vagina, and at the same time the farmer has to shove their entire arm into the cow's anus to hold its uterus in place for a more successful inception. It's not funny. So that already is kind of messed up. After the baby is born, the baby will be taken away from the mother because they don't, we're using the animal for its milk and we can't give it the milk to the baby. So they're ripped apart on the first day. I think a good case scenario would be like 3 days later. So regardless of how many days later it is, ripping family apart, especially mammals who have extremely powerful bonds between their children, is very traumatic for the animal. If it is a male baby, that'll be killed straight away and sold to the veal industry, and if it is a female, it will be subjected to the same life as the mother. So fed up until it is I'm not sure, I think it's about 1 year old, then they start impregnating them so that they can produce milk, because mammals only produce milk when they are pregnant. So that's the dairy industry. Fucked up. The egg industry. Chickens in general are very aggressive towards each other, especially in confined spaces. So in nature, or in a big garden, if you are keeping chickens, they'll fight, and the weaker ones will run away and hide and have some solitude at least. But even in the nicest farms, free range is just some arbitrary standard that has been created by the industry itself. So in the Netherlands, free range is, correct me if I'm wrong, 1 meter squared holds 9 chickens. So that's not a lot of space. They probably can't spread out their wings. So they peck each other, and a lot of them get hurt. So maybe in the slightly less humane circumstances, they cut off the beak so that they can't hurt each other. When the chickens lay eggs to produce new female chickens for egg laying, the baby chicks are sorted into male and female. All the males are waste products for the industry. They can't do anything with them, so they're ground up into a mush that I'm not sure what they do with. So that's just killing a huge number of lives on their first day, and the females are put into the same situation as their mother. So I can understand that it is hard to relate to animals, especially if we're so detached and we're living in the city, and especially if it's a chicken or a fish. We can't actually see emotion, and we can't see intellect as well as maybe if we see it in a dog or in a cow or a pig, because we know for a fact that those animals are very intelligent as dogs. Also, regardless of one's intelligence, a dog we want to respect because it is maybe more intelligent, but the cow and the pig have very similar intelligence and we don't care for them. And if we did have to put that logic onto humans, no one's saying that they're the same thing, but if we use that logic with humans, less intelligent people, maybe mentally disabled people, we wouldn't care about, and we would kill them because they were a nuisance or not helping society, which is not the case. We actively want to go out of our way to look after these kinds of people, and that's how I feel like we should see animals, because they're innocent and they're helpless. They don't have rights, and they don't have a voice to express that they are suffering, but we know it. No one wants to see the slaughter of animals or the farming of animals. If we are seeing it, a lot of the time we're seeing the best circumstances, which of course is better, but slavery is still slavery. We're using these animals for their bodies, where we know that they would prefer to just do their own thing and not be controlled. So a solution is to reduce your consumption, because it's all about supply and demand. If we want to buy something, the company is going to supply it. So if we boycott these companies that are destroying the earth, then we can help reduce it and eventually maybe eradicate that. So it's a slow progress, and any bit helps. So doing challenges like Meatless Monday and Veganuary, or any period of reducing your animal consumption, really helps. Nutritionally, the plant-based diet, a healthy plant-based diet with whole foods, is the only diet that has been shown to stop and reverse heart disease. No other diet has ever done this, and no other diet/drug combination has ever done this. Before, they didn't think that heart disease was reversible, but now we know that it is possible, that the plaques in our arteries can be eradicated. But unfortunately, the animal agricultural industries and all the industries attached to them, like the fast food chains and Nestle chocolate and just so much, there's so much money in there, more money than the oil industries, at least some of them. So these companies are actively hiring doctors. They pay for studies, and you can see it in the bottom of the study. It says conflicts of interest, and then there's the dairy or the egg industry. So we know that they have a vested interest. And then some might say, well, there's a vegan agenda, but what would the agenda be? It's compassion and peace. And how can that be perceived as negative? Obviously it is our belief system, but it is also your belief system, because we all agree that we want peace, and we all agree that we don't want animal abuse, and animal exploitation is animal abuse. So these are my perspectives, and I hope that it resonates with you, and that you take some motivation maybe and make a small change, because nothing ever happens if we all just stand by compliantly. Change only comes with individuals starting from grassroots, and revolution happens that way. It is changing. Apparently the UK is 7% vegan at the moment, which is crazy. Once it gets to 10%, that's like a really large population. So in a few years it's really going to be a lot more widespread. But the fact of the matter is, what's the way up here? You know, it's about convenience at the end of the day. Something that tastes nice, and something that's you know, veganism is a little bit harder. You know, you have to ask for no milk in your dish. But try, why not? Alright, that's my sense. Peace out.